I'm Rebecca Mickey, Children's Sleep Consultant and author, and welcome to the 10-minute masterclass. In this masterclass, I'm going to be talking to you all about those pesky 20-minute naps and what we can do to actually get these naps lengthened out. It's quite common, actually, 20-minute naps, and the 20-minute nap is due to your child's brain being overly stimulated before we are getting them down for the nap. So if we can work on relaxing their brain a little bit, we should be able to eliminate the 20-minute nap. Now, what I suggest that you do is you take the temperament quiz for your child. Temperament is really going to play a very big part in how your child naps. You can find the link below here on how to get to my temperament quiz. Your child's temperament is going to play a really big part in how they nap, but it's also going to help you determine how much wiggle room that you have with their daily routine. Children who are more laid back and easygoing can handle being that overtired and that overstimulated a little bit more than children who are a little bit more intense or a little bit more spirited. These children cannot handle that so much, and then oftentimes we get this crazy 20-minute nap. And a 20-minute nap often looks like your child goes down to sleep, and they may actually go down to sleep fairly easily, but then after 20 minutes they are wide awake. It's a very quick, urgent wake up, and they are wide awake. This is due to the brain being overly stimulated. It can be really, really hard to get your child back down to sleep at this point. So rather than trying and attempting and potentially failing at getting them back down to sleep, let's see if we can actually eliminate the wake up altogether. So definitely take that temperament quiz. Let's see what temperament it is that your child has. Depending on their age, will depend on how long they are able to be awake for. Make sure that you download the workbook. You're going to find lots of different ages and daily routines here, depending on what your child's temperament is. As I said, it depends on how much wiggle room you have there. But a child who's 12 weeks old will only be able to be awake for a maximum of an hour and a half. A child who's getting to 4.5, 5 months old, well, that will lengthen out to about 2 hours maximum of awake time. As we get past the 6 months of age, child can then shift to the 2-3-4 routine, which is 2 hours awake, nap, 3 hours awake, nap, 4 hours awake, and then down for the night, potentially needing a cat nap in that 4-hour stretch, as that is initially quite a long time. But make sure you get your copy of the workbook. You can find the link just below here, and that's going to be giving you the examples of the different daily routines that are going to be suitable for the age of your child. Another thing that's really, really important is we need to work on relaxing your child's brain before we are attempting to get them down for that nap. And oftentimes that just comes with a nap time routine. Same thing, same place, same order for every single nap. And that would just be when you're at home. That could be going into your child's room, closing up the curtains, sitting them down, reading a book, singing a song, and then helping them down to sleep, however that happens. Normally between about 7 and 15 minutes is perfect duration for this, but it's really, really important that we have this routine. Oftentimes, just working on this routine, which is within your awake time, can make a difference to those short naps. So certainly introduce this routine if you don't already have one. Introducing it within your awake time can be a real game changer here. So if your child is awake for an hour and a half and you have a 15-minute routine, you're starting your routine after an hour and 15 minutes. So you're actively working on getting them down to sleep at the hour and a half point. That extra 15 minutes, if you started the routine at an hour and a half and then getting them down to sleep after an hour and 45 minutes, can be the difference between that short nap, 20-minute nap, or a longer nap, because it doesn't take much for the brain to get overly stimulated. And as well, then we're dealing with some overtiredness, and that's going to be really hard for your child to actually nap. So make sure that that nap time is done within your awake time. You'll see that on the examples that I give in the workbook where the routine should begin. You also want to make sure that for children who are more intense and spirited or touchy or slow to warm up, that you introduce a walking wind down. Now, a walking wind down helps your child's brain relax that little bit more. And you will actually do this before starting your nap time routine. And what I suggest you do is you just pick your child up and you walk around with the house with them for a few minutes. Look out the windows, look at pictures on the wall. It is a slow, rhythmic walk, but what you're doing here is you're keeping things fresh and moving, so your child should be interested, but we are physically slowing them down because you are holding them. This is going to help their brain just relax just that little bit more before you even get started on your nap time routine. Depending on how overly stimulated your child is, may depend on how long you're going to have this little walking or wind down. It could be just a few minutes, you could do 10 minutes, but it's really, really helpful to lengthening out those naps. And it's actually a really easy thing to do, and we like easy. So make sure that you're using that walking wind down if your child is that more intense, spirited temperament. If you're noticing when your child is playing, just during their playtime, they could be a toddler who is playing with cars. It could be an infant who is just under the gym. If they ever get to that 1,000-yard stare where they're really just kind of staring at something, this is really evident with infants. This is them becoming overly stimulated. So if you're ever seeing that, even if it is not near a nap time or they don't seem tired, scoop them up from whatever it is that they're doing and just have a couple of minutes of that wind down. They can go back and do the exact same thing that they were doing beforehand, but it just helps then just relax the brain just a little bit. And then when it comes to you trying to get them down for that nap and doing another wind down, they're going to be much more relaxed. The way you want to think about stimulation is that when your child wakes in the morning, they're learning, they're getting stimulated and they're learning things. And this is what we want. We don't want to try and avoid this, but think of that stimulation as going up the stairs. They're busy, they're doing things, they're going up another couple of stairs and you're trying to get them down for that nap, and your nap time routine is great and that may bring them down one step. And then they're awake and they're going again and they may go up 3 or 4 steps. You do your nap time routine and you bring them back down another step and then they nap. So through the day, they are right at the top of the stairs. That stimulation level is really, really high. So if we can have this wind down before we are beginning our nap time routine or in the middle of just our playtime, at the end of the day and before their naps, they are not going to be so high up the stairs. They're not going to be so stimulated. And this is going to make your naps and your nighttime sleep so much easier. Make sure you download your workbook. You're going to find the examples of the daily routines in there and how we can eliminate our 20-minute naps by just introducing this walking wind down. Make sure you subscribe to the page here. You'll be updated whenever there is a new 10-minute masterclass. And I will see you in the next masterclass.